The OM-D E-M10 Mark III arrives 2 years after its popular predecessor, the M10 Mark II. It brings 4K video, a new image processor, and a redesigned menu interface that makes the camera more beginner-friendly. What hasn't changed is how beautiful the camera looks. Olympus refined the aesthetics, gave the metal dials more precise feedback, and added a larger front grip that makes the camera more comfortable to hold with bigger lenses. However, the top and bottom plates are now made of plastic rather than metal, and as you can guess, there is no weather sealing. The menu system has been redesigned and stripped down to the essentials. It is much quicker to browse, and changing settings is easy enough thanks to the pre-programmed buttons, welcome screens, and the Super Control panel. The electronic viewfinder gives you good magnification, brightness, and clarity. The rear tilting LCD screen is touch-sensitive and includes clever features like the AF targeting pad. The E-M10 Mark III doesn't use the most advanced 5-axis stabilization Olympus has to offer, but it's still better than the competition, allowing you to shoot down to half a second or even 1 second if you are stable enough. For video, you can choose to use the sensor shift on its own or add electronic stabilization. Doing so crops the sensor slightly but gives you more stability for static shots and slow pannings, and the results are really excellent. The only drawback is that the 5-axis stabilization for video can create unwanted distortion in the corners like in this example. The sensor is the same as the one found on the predecessor, the M10 Mark II. You get 16 megapixels and a 125,600 ISO range with usable results up to 6,400. The dynamic range is good, albeit with some weakness in the highlights in comparison to the latest generation Micro Four Thirds sensors. The new image processor, the TruePic 8 used for the flagship EM1 Mark II, brings 4K video and the result is good at low ISOs. The footage is reasonably sharp and rolling shutter is well contained. At high ISO, noise starts to be more invasive from 3200. In 1080p you can record up to 60 frames per second and the footage is sharper in comparison to the M10 Mark II. At 720p you can record at 120 frames per second but the quality decreases significantly. You won't find any microphone input or flat gamma profile. The natural picture mode is my favorite as it offers a good color balance. The M10 Mark III has a new autofocus system with 121 points, but it's still based on contrast detection only. To be honest, I didn't find a concrete difference in comparison to the old camera. It does fine with static and slow-moving subjects with good light conditions, but can struggle more in low light or with really fast subjects. The AF cluster that displays as many points as needed only works in single autofocus, which is a shame. In continuous AF, you want to use the single target for better results, or the tracking mode, but beware that the latter can also behave erratically. The continuous autofocus performance is slower in video mode, but keeping the shutter button half pressed can help in some cases. You can also use the touchscreen to change the focus point, which gives you a smooth transition. Face and eye detection work well but can sometimes fail to deliver a tack-sharp result on the eye or face of the subject. Like all Olympus cameras, the E-M10 Mark III comes with plenty of extra features, including Wi-Fi, time-lapse, live composite, focus bracketing, and much more. What's changed, however, is that a lot of these features are now only accessible via the new Advanced Photo mode, which doesn't offer manual exposure control. This means that things like the electronic shutter, for example, only work in program mode, and in some cases you can't even control the ISO. Some features have disappeared as well, like the wireless RC flash mode, and useful settings are missing such as more custom buttons, the My Set modes, Home AF, and many others. A beginner looking for his or her first camera will find lots of things to like about the M10 Mark III. It has a gorgeous design, is the most straightforward Olympus camera to use, and provides sufficient image and video quality as well as lots of extra features to keep you busy shooting. However, if you already have experience with OMD or pen cameras, the omission of useful features and some manual controls may disappoint you.